My beloved soul, before we begin, I invite you to take a moment to breathe, to be still, and to open your heart. If you are watching or listening, please don't forget to subscribe, because this message might just be the divine confirmation you've been praying for. The silent power of prayer for your future spouse. So many people in this world are searching for love. They walk into relationships with brokenness, unmet expectations, and unhealed wounds. They jump into marriages unprepared, carrying burdens from their past. And then they ask, why does love hurt? Why did it fail? Why didn't it last? Today, God is saying to you, before you even meet your spouse, pray for them. Yes, pray before you see their face. Pray before you know their name. Pray before you shake their hand, because prayer goes where your hands cannot. Prayer reaches where your eyes cannot see. Prayer covers the unseen future and prepares the soil for the seed of love to grow in the right season. Your spouse is not just a person you will marry, are a destiny partner. And if you truly want a love that is blessed, stable, and strong, you must first learn to place it in the hands of God before it ever begins. Why pray first? Because God knows them already, long before you were born. God knew who your spouse would be. He formed them. He wrote their story, and He knows their struggles. When you pray, you are aligning your life with the will of the one who holds your future. Because love is spiritual before it is physical, many think love begins with attraction, with butterflies, with beauty, but real love, lasting love's first spiritual. If you don't secure it in prayer, it becomes fragile, shaken by storms, and vulnerable to the enemy's attack. Because prayer builds protection when you pray. For your future spouse, you are building a hedge around them. You are covering them from the temptations, distractions, and wounds that the world might try to throw their way before they meet you. The prayer of preparation. Imagine this. Your future husband or wife might be struggling right now. They might be lonely, brokenhearted, or even thinking of giving up. But your prayer can reach them. Your prayer can lift them up. Your prayer can whisper hope into their spirit when they feel like nothing makes sense. This is why God says pray first. Because when you meet them, you will not just meet a person, you will meet the testimony of how prayer works. Praying for their healing before you meet them. Pray that God heals their heart from past pain, because if you walk into a relationship with someone who is still bleeding from yesterday, you will bleed together. But if you pray now, you allow God to stitch their wounds, so that when your paths cross, you meet someone whole, not someone shattered. Pray that they are free from bitterness. Pray that they are delivered from toxic cycles. Pray that they are walking in purity. Pray that they are not entangled in false love, counterfeit partners, or relationships that are only distractions. Praying for their growth, pray that they are growing in wisdom. They are learning how to be patient, how to forgive, how to be strong. Pray that they are growing in their career, their purpose, and their walk with God. Because your marriage will not just be about emotions, it will be about building together, serving together, and becoming a reflection of God's love on earth. Praying for yourself too, but don't forget praying for your spouse is also praying for yourself. It's because the same way they need healing, you do too. It's the same way they need growth, you do too. Say, Lord, prepare me to be the right partner. Remove from me anything that would harm my marriage. Teach me patience, humility, and faithfulness. Make me ready so that when I meet the one you've chosen, I won't sabotage what you have given me. Praying for your spouse before you meet them requires faith, because you are believing in something you have not seen yet. And that's what faith is, the evidence of things hoped for, the assurance of things unseen. Every time you whisper their name in prayer, even if you don't know it yet, you are planting seeds into your future marriage. Those seeds will grow into joy, peace, and strength when the storms of life come. My beloved soul, let this sink deeply. Love without prayer is fragile, but love birthed in prayer is unshakable. God says, pray first. Don't wait until you meet them. Don't. Wait until the wedding. Don't wait until problems come. Begin now, because the foundation of your future begins with the prayers you pray today. Beloved child of God, if you are still with me, it means this message is speaking to your spirit. I believe God is planting seeds of wisdom in you right now. Remember, subscribing is not just about following a channel, it is about staying connected to the words that feed your soul daily. The specific prayers you should pray for your future spouse when God says, pray for your spouse before you meet them. He does not mean shallow words. He calls you into deep, intentional intercession. Your prayers are like arrows. You must aim them correctly. Here are the 7 areas of prayer God desires you to cover for your future spouse. 1. Pray for their faith. Say, Lord, strengthen their faith. Let them walk close to you. Let them not be led astray by the world. Let their heart remain rooted in your word. Because a spouse without faith will not be able to stand in the storms of marriage. But a spouse grounded in faith will carry you when you are weak, and you will carry them when they stumble too. Pray for their heart. Ask God to guard their heart from bitterness, lust, unforgiveness, and deception. Pray that their heart is pure, loving, compassionate, and full of humility. Because a spouse with a hardened heart will build walls in your marriage. But a spouse with a soft heart will open doors of healing. 3. Pray for their mind. Say, Lord, renew their mind daily. Give them wisdom, clarity, and understanding. Remove confusion, doubt, and wrong influences, because the mind is a battlefield. If their mind is tormented, it will affect the peace in your home. But if their mind is renewed, your marriage will be filled with wisdom. 4. Pray for their purpose. Ask God to lead them into their calling. Pray that they discover their gifts, pursue their mission, and walk in alignment with God's design, because you are not just marrying a body, you are marrying a purpose. And when 2 purposes collide in harmony, kingdom marriage is born. Point 5. Pray for their friendships. Say, Lord, surround them with godly friends, mentors, and voices that uplift and not destroy. Because the people around your spouse will influence their choices. If they are surrounded by the wrong crowd, they may be pulled into sin. But if they are surrounded by godly voices, they will be sharpened and strengthened. 6. Pray for their health. Pray for their physical body, their mental health, and their emotional stability. Ask God to keep them strong, whole, and able to live long years with you, because sickness, addiction, or weakness can weigh heavily on a marriage, but prayer builds a shield of protection. 7. Pray for their protection. Say, Lord, protect them from accidents, traps, temptations, and every plan of the enemy, because unseen dangers exist in this world. But when you cover your spouse before you even meet them, you are already building a wall of fire around them. How God answers these prayers, you may ask, but how will I know my prayers are working if I have not met them yet? The truth is, sometimes you will never see the details of how God is moving behind the curtain. But trust this, every word you speak in prayer is not wasted. Perhaps your future spouse was about to give up, but suddenly strength rose within them. That was your prayer. Perhaps they were about to enter a wrong relationship, but suddenly they felt uneasy and walked away. That was your prayer. Perhaps they were about to make a reckless choice, but a friend called at the right time. That was your prayer. God is weaving unseen miracles in their life because of the words you whispered in faith. The mystery of God's timing. Now, here is the part many find difficult. Waiting, you may say, I have prayed, but why am I still alone? Understand this. God is not just preparing your spouse. He is preparing you too. And sometimes, the delay is not punishment. It is protection. God is keeping you from meeting too early, before either of you is ready. Because premature love leads to heartbreak, but mature love leads to a lasting covenant. When you pray, don't just pray for speed. Pray for the right timing, because the right person at the wrong time will feel like the wrong person. But the right person at God's time will feel like destiny. Praying with vision here is a practice. When you pray, pray with vision. Imagine your future spouse walking strong, faithful, smiling, healed, and whole. See them as God sees them. Pray into their tomorrow as if it already exists. Say, Lord, I see my spouse walking in joy. I see them free from the chains of the past, I see them prospering, leading, loving, and serving. I see us building a family together that honors you. Praying with vision creates an atmosphere of faith. Faith attracts the promises of God into reality. My beloved soul, prayer is not just asking, it is preparing. Every time you pray for your spouse before you meet them, you are building a future that is blessed, guarded, and stable. And remember, the same way you pray for them, someone somewhere may be praying for you. We'll go even deeper into the spiritual. Battles against kingdom marriages, how to recognize counterfeits, and why the enemy tries to stop you from praying for your spouse. You already know this. Prayer for your future spouse is not a small thing. It is a spiritual assignment. The moment you begin to pray for them, you step into a battlefield, because the enemy knows the power of a kingdom marriage, and he will try everything to destroy it before it begins. The enemy's war against kingdom marriages. Marriage is not just about two people being happy, it is about reflecting God's love on earth. A true godly marriage shows the world what Christ's love looks like. That is why Satan hates it. He hates unity, he hates love, and he hates anything that mirrors God's image. This is why so many marriages collapse. Why so many couples fight. Why so many people are tricked into toxic relationships. It is not just bad luck. It is a spiritual war. When you start praying for your future spouse before meeting them, you are stepping into this war early. You are claiming victory before the battle even starts. How the enemy attacks future. Spouses, the enemy uses subtle strategies to weaken or destroy a person before they meet their God-ordained partner. Through past wounds, he plants heartbreak, rejection, and abandonment so deep that people stop believing in love. When you pray, you are asking God to heal those wounds. Through counterfeit relationships, the devil often sends almost right. People partners who look good on the outside, but are traps on the inside. They waste time, break hearts, and confuse destiny. Your prayer builds discernment for your spouse to recognize and walk away from such counterfeits. Through distractions, sometimes the enemy distracts your spouse with chasing money, success, or worldly pleasure, so much that they lose focus on building a godly future. Your prayer keeps their eyes centered on God's plan. Through doubt and delay, the enemy whispers lies. Maybe you're not meant to marry. Maybe love isn't for you. These lies create fear and hopelessness. But your prayer becomes a weapon that tears down doubt and replaces it with hope. Recognizing counterfeit partners when you pray for your spouse. God also trains you to recognize counterfeits, because not everyone who walks into your life is meant to stay. Some are distractions, some are lessons, and some are traps. Here are signs of counterfeit. Relationships, they pull you away from God instead of pushing you closer to Him. They manipulate, control, or belittle you instead of respecting and uplifting you. They create constant confusion instead of peace. They want the benefits of love, but not the responsibilities of commitment. God will never send you someone who draws you away from Him. So when you meet someone, measure them by prayer. Ask, do they reflect the fruit of prayer or the fruit of the world? Why the enemy tries to stop your prayers? Have you ever noticed that the moment you start praying consistently for your future spouse, distractions come? You feel sleepy, tired, or discouraged. Suddenly, negative thoughts flood your mind. What if it doesn't work? What if I'm wasting time? This is not coincidence. The enemy knows your prayers are powerful. He knows that if you keep covering your spouse in prayer, his traps will fail. So he tries to silence you before your prayers bear fruit. But here's the truth. Every prayer you whisper shakes the kingdom of darkness. Every time you call your spouse's name in faith, the devil loses ground. The power of persistent prayer. Think of prayer like rain falling on dry soil. One drop may not look like much, but with time, the soil softens and becomes fertile. Your persistent prayers are softening the ground of your future marriage. Even if you don't see immediate results, keep praying, because one day when you finally meet your spouse, you will realize this is the harvest of the prayers I sowed long ago. Praying for protection from counterfeits. Here is a prayer you can whisper daily. Lord, shield my future spouse from every counterfeit. Remove from their life anyone who is not meant for them. Protect them from deception, temptation, and distraction. Keep their heart pure and their eyes open, so that when we finally meet, they come to me whole, and I meet them whole too. This kind of prayer not only protects them, it protects you, because when you are covered in prayer, you will not waste years in wrong relationships. You will walk with discernment. The reward of covering your spouse early when you finally meet the one God has chosen. Something in your spirit will recognize them, and you will realize that the peace you feel is not accidentally, is the fruit of every prayer you prayed before. Your conversations will flow, your hearts will connect, and you will know that this is not just attraction, this is destiny. Because prayer builds a foundation so strong that when storms come, your marriage will not crumble. My beloved soul, hear me clearly. Prayer for your future spouse is not wasted time. It is warfare, it is preparation, it is love in its highest form. You may not see them yet, but your words are already shaping their tomorrow. Beloved soul, we've explored why prayer for your spouse before meeting them is essential, the specific areas to cover in prayer, and the spiritual battles that try to hinder kingdom marriages. We will learn how to continue this powerful journey once you meet your spouse, and how prayer can keep your marriage blessed, strong, and full of God's presence. Continuing to pray after meeting your spouse, many people think that once they meet their future spouse, prayer is no longer necessary. But God is saying, pray before, pray during, and pray always. Prayer does not stop at the altar. It continues in the home, in the bedroom, at the table, and in every decision you make together. The love that begins with prayer continues. To grow with prayer, when you pray together, you are not just sharing words. You are building a spiritual connection that cannot be broken by the trials of life. Praying together builds a kingdom marriage. Imagine a marriage where both partners pray together daily. Each prayer becomes a brick in the foundation of love. Each prayer creates unity, understanding, and shared vision. Each prayer strengthens the bond that nothing on earth can sever. Pray together for guidance and decisions. Pray together for forgiveness when mistakes are made. Pray together for protection, prosperity, and purpose. God delights in couples who lift each other up in prayer. And when both partners are committed to prayer, the enemy finds no place to interfere. Praying through challenges, no marriage is without challenges. Disagreements, stress, and external pressures will come. But prayer is your shield and your sword. When arguments arise, pray for patience and understanding. When finances are tight, pray for provision and wisdom. When fear or doubt enters, pray for faith and reassurance. Prayer is not a magic wand. It is the bridge that connects your human struggles to God's divine solutions. The blessings of starting with prayer. When you begin with prayer, before meeting your spouse, you invite God's blessings into your union. Here is what you can expect. Peace in the relationship. You will notice a calm that surpasses understanding. Even in conflict, prayer will guide you toward reconciliation. Spiritual growth together. You and your spouse will grow in faith as you pray together. You'll become a reflection of God's love and purpose. Protection against counterfeits. Prayer continues to guard both of you from distractions, temptations, and harmful relationships. A deep, lasting love that starts and continues in prayer is love rooted in God. It is love that grows stronger over time and withstands every storm. Practical steps for lifelong prayer and marriage. Start your day together in prayer. Even 5 minutes every morning sets the tone for the day. End your day in prayer before sleeping. Give thanks. Ask for protection. Release any burdens to God. Pray during decisions, big or small. Make prayer your first step before acting. Pray for each other's growth. Continue to lift your spouse in prayer for wisdom, patience, and purpose. Pray for unity. Always ask God to strengthen your bond and remove anything that could divide you, my beloved. Listen carefully. A marriage built on prayer is a marriage built to last. Yours. Lifeline that connects your love to God's divine will. When you pray for your spouse before you meet them, You lay a foundation that no man or woman can destroy, and when you continue to pray together after you meet, you invite God into every corner of your relationship. Your marriage becomes a testimony, a beacon of hope, and a reflection of Christ's love for His church. So, my beloved soul, take this message to heart. Begin by praying for your future spouse now, even if you have not met them. Cover them in healing, growth, protection, and purpose. Recognize and resist counterfeits and distractions through prayer. And when you meet your spouse, continue to pray together, letting God guide, strengthen, and bless your union, your love. Story is not just a romance, it is a kingdom assignment, and it begins with prayer. Remember, God says, pray for your spouse first, before you even meet them, and you will witness miracles in ways you never imagined.